Jose Arce, welcome back to the podcast, sir.
Thanks, man. How are you?
I'm doing great. We talked last week and did that recording, but we had about the water situation and the legality of just everything. But we've had a little bit of an update since then. So let's just jump right into it. Can you update us with what's going on with the water situation in Nosara? Because people are confused, angry, for multi reasons. Some people are angry because of all the development and they're happy that there's no development. Other people are angry because they can't get their water letters. And you know how Nosara works and all small towns work. So let's bounce over to you and you tell us the legal side of everything, please.
Sure. No, thanks, Rich. And as I mentioned last time, I know that this is a very touchy and frustrating issue for a lot of people. The good news is that on the last week that we talked, I was able to let you know that we had talked with one of the responsible parties at the Costa Rican Water Department, AIA. We had just talked to him and we had gotten very, very positive feedback with regards that they had already taken a look at the water pump studies that the local water board had done. He had, without compromising himself, he had already said everything looks good. And he actually sent them over to the water department at MINAE, which is the environmental authority, in order for the water department to validate the new hydric capacity of each well, okay? And basically what we needed to do is we needed for the Asada wells, let's put it that way, to reach a certain maximum or a certain hydric capacity in order for the ban to get lifted, okay?
Okay.
What this person had told us, Oscar, was that from what he had seen, that capacity that we needed to reach was reached through the water pump tests, and that basically it was just a matter of going through the process. Okay, so the update and the very good news that we have is that we were not only able to confirm that with them in verbally, but this week we were able to verify that on the files. Okay, meaning that the water department of MINAE actually put in writing that they are approving most of the new water pump tests, and that that in theory we have reached that new capacity that we needed to reach. Okay, the next step would be, if all of this is accurate and the water pump tests are accurate, which in theory they had already put in writing that they are, all that needs to happen is for, let's say, the order to go back to AIA, and AIA saying, the new capacities, the new hydric capacities are updated. So now we are lifting the ban, okay? There's no specific timeline for that to happen, but I would expect that to happen, probably in the next 2 months at most, because now
Okay.
it's the final step of the puzzle. So unless something unusual happens, it seems like we are seeing the light at the end of the tunnel with regards to this matter.
So am I allowed to say you're positive on this, that there's a light at the end of the tunnel and this is going to end?
Yes, because at least from, let's say, from a strictly numbers and technical perspective, what needed to be reached has been reached, okay? So now it's just a matter of internal paperwork. And unless something very peculiar and unusual happens, we should be getting, a lifting on this. I hope that in the next 2 months.
Gotcha. I was sorry. I was laughing there for a second. I was just having memories of all my podcasts talking about the road, the building regulations, just pick a subject. And whenever we get to the point of the internal processing, you got me there. I couldn't help but laugh.
That's why, that's where I threw on the little safe line, which is, unless something unusual happens, we're on our way. But at least from what we have visibility on, we had a very good news this week, which is that we actually saw it in writing. Okay, so what Oscar Araya told us verbally has actually, we were able to corroborate that in writing on the files. So that means that that what he was saying was accurate, and that we're really moving forward.
Okay. Now, thank you for that update. That's very helpful. Now, for people who might not understand the situation, can you go back and just quickly, if it's possible to do it quickly, just give a synopsis of the situation? What's happening? Why are people upset about this or that? Can you just quickly tell the story as to what's happening? Because there's still confusion on that as well.
Sure. I might be a little off with the numbers, but generally speaking, my understanding is that the local water board has 11 functioning wells, give or take. But at the Costa Rican Water Department, only 3 of those 11 wells were recorded. Okay, so the water capacity that's recorded for those 3 wells do not match, the level of development and of water consumption that the area has right now, and not only has, but that it needs to continue growing. Okay, so the water department IAF of Costa Rica basically said, this doesn't match up. Here I have that, and I'm making these numbers up, but here I have that you only have capacity to give water to 100 houses, and you already have 1,000, and in the next 5 years you're going to have I don't know how much more. So you need to come and update not only those 3 wells that you have, but also the other wells that you haven't recorded before me, and basically update the water capacity of each of these wells, so that I can basically update the capacity that you have recorded, so that everything matches up, not only with what has been developed in Nosara so far, but also taking into consideration future growth. Okay, just a note there. I don't think this is not something that the water board didn't do on purpose. Okay, this is something that was just, all of the water boards in the area are in the same situation. So this is not exclusive to the Nosara area. Okay, so
it's not a lack of water that was discovered. It was basically the paperwork and the processing to get this up to date is what happened. Is that what you're saying?
Correct. So basically, this is my understanding. Obviously, I'm not a water expert, but from the experts that we have talked with, is that this is not a water scarcity problem. It's just a matter of updating, the water capacity of each of these wells, so that in records, that this water capacity is updated. So actually, what the water department, I think, obviously it came probably in a bad moment, and the process is tiring and the time and costly. But what they are asking is, it's actually pretty logical. It just came at a bad time.
I got you. That makes sense. Jose, I get contacted for a while, like almost daily, repeatedly sometimes, from people on all different sides saying, well, is this the people who tried to block development with the building regulations didn't get that through, so now they're getting to the powers that be to cut us off water-wise? I hear a lot of that. And then I hear a lot of the other side. I just hear a lot of stuff flying around. So that's why I wanted to get you in from the legal side to clarify what's going on. Do you know of or see any evidence that there's treachery afoot or some sort of insidious activity? Do you know of any of that type of stuff? I just get asked so much about this. I'm trying to use this platform to address this question from your perspective.
To give a clear answer, no, I haven't seen anything like that. I know that there are a lot of of stories going around and gossips and things like that. I haven't seen any of those on paper. As you know, this is important for a lot of people in the community, and believe me that if I had seen something like that, I would be one of the first ones to raise a voice, because it also affects what I do, but then on the other hand, what I think is that, at least what we have seen so far, document wise, it makes sense. And although it might have moved slowly, at least we haven't seen anything fishy going on. Having said that, Rich, obviously there is always a chance of something like that happening. But I think that the most important part is that right now we're in a position where if things don't really start moving, then we could, start thinking about, why isn't this moving when all of the process has been done correctly? And second, I think that now, with all of the progress that has been done, if nothing happens, then we are able to take legal action against certain government entities for not doing their job correctly.
I get
so
you.
I think
I
it's
have a
good.
couple people who are about to record who are pretty upset, and that's the angle they really want to go. So I'm trying to get all voices out there as to where we're at to give people a chance to understand what's going on, because it's kind of confusing. Well, everything's confusing, but
Yeah,
you just see what I'm
I've,
saying? Like if you like,
yeah,
for example, if you lost your property sale over a water situation you don't have any control over, and everyone was just saying, oh, it's just processing. Well,
I
that
agree,
causes
and
a lot of
yes,
emotion.
of course, and I don't discredit what they're thinking and what their what their course of action might be. What I'm saying is that what I'm seeing, at least from a document perspective, it's pretty normal. Okay, it's pretty normal, bearing in mind that you're dealing with Costa Rican entities, government entities. Okay, so having said that, I think that it's good, because we're at a breaking point where we're going to see if maybe some of those gossips are true or not, because right now everything is lined up correctly for the ban to get lifted pretty soon. So if that doesn't happen, then we either take legal action or there might be some true about some of those
So we'll see.
gossips that are in town.
We'll see soon enough, is what you're saying. Like we're about to
Correct.
find out. Okay. So do you want to place a bet? And I have a long standing history, unfortunately, of winning bets when it comes to government processing. You guessed 2 months. Do you want to bet something on that? A lunch at your favorite Chinese restaurant in your hometown of Nagoya?
Yeah, well, no. But I mean, I'm saying 2 months, but my guess is, bearing in mind the Christmas break and everything, what I'm shooting for is hopefully mid-January.
Okay.
Yeah, just to have some extra weeks.
Okay.
There.
Well, all right. That all sounds good. I know people are going to appreciate getting this information, and I appreciate you being willing to hop on camera. Not everybody's willing to when it comes to sensitive matters. So thank you for doing that. And
my pleasure, Rich. Anytime.
Yeah, we appreciate having you on, and we'll check up with you in a couple months. Let's see how this thing goes.
Sure. Perfect.
Thanks, Jose.
Take care, man.